1, 2, 3.
Yeah. That opening is just so full of happiness, don't you think? It makes me so happy when that starts up and there's all those Harrison Ford images. Oh my gosh. You could only be watching one show.
Yeah, I have the ones to look forward to now. It's like, oh, what clips will Adam add in for, Air Force One? What clips he can add in for for other stuff too that hasn't been represented yet? Very excited.
Yeah, that's been a lot of fun too. It's like, ooh, now there's a clip from this. There's a clip from Clear and Present Danger in this one, obviously.
And I like the shots hello. I like the shots in the Clear and Present Danger menu of Defoe, because it reminds you in this movie they allow him to be just like a guy. He's tough, but he's like got like good looking clothes. His hair is 90s feathered. When normally he's just like, picture Streets of Fire with the awful rubber clothing and the slick back hair, or like in To Live and Die in LA when he was just like a gross criminal. But he gets
you need to go with the best. That used to be the thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, I never saw Body of Evidence, but somehow someone thought he should be the sexual partner for Madonna in that movie. But I don't know.
Somebody had to be.
But a lot of evidence to lead to that choice. But here he didn't look so bad. Yeah.
Well, you know what's kind of cool about the choice of him in Clear and Present Danger, because we've got like a Rambo situation, we've got like a Reagan-Contras sort of situation or whatever. You could take a lot of sides of that argument, but I love that without going, let's get a scumbag to go down there and lead these troops. They're like, no, let's get this guy. He's got his troops. But you're like, but there is something a little seedy about him no matter what. Like you could put him in full Rambo mode, but you're still like, I don't know, is he on our side? Was he on his own side? What's going on there? But you don't mess him over. That's one thing you don't do.
Yeah. So we're clearly talking about the plot of Clear and Present Danger, Harrison Ford's 1994 CIA action thriller, political drama, actually probably mainly, but
we've added the word having Harrison Ford in the movie is why we go an action adventure movie like Clear and Present Danger.
I know.
Those words actually do not apply, really.
But we have for you the full description of the movie, so as ever we've added our own comedic nonsense to it, and we're going to present that for you today. So David, wait, who all is here? We got David. Go ahead and start.
We got everybody here.
David, how dare you, sir?
We got
Brennan, we got
shouts in
Cam.
This. So good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. A lot of points and shouts. And we'll have to try and point and shout at some point during the description, which will be top of show. There's also, hey, Harrison Ford news. There's this date in Harrison Ford history. All the stuff you love. We got it today. So
none of the stuff you hate. We're not going to be talking about some other actor. We're talking about everybody's favorite actor, Harrison Ford.
Now, Brennan, why are you bringing this up? Have I brought this up on the show that when I first came to LA, I went down. I went down in front of
all of the other Harrison Ford. Sorry,
I went down in front of Musso and Frank, and that's where Harrison Ford's star was. So I'm taking pictures of me with the star, like, hey, I'm a Harrison Ford star. But of course, not him, the silent film actor. What are the odds that that's not a very, common name? I would think Harrison, and then I just. Dick Smith, you think there'd be like 100 of them, but
there's only one Dick Smith, my friend.
Yeah, the good news is I happened to be in town then when Ford got his actual star in front of the what's now the Ovation and the Dolby Theater in that area, in a more high traffic area where you'd think Harrison Ford would get his star. So I got to go down and watch him get it, watch Spielberg talk, and be part of the whole thing. So that was great.
Yeah, I think he's outside the, I have a great photo. It was raining one night, and that was the first time I'd noticed, because this is now my street here. I walk past these stars all the time, and I see the same stars all the time, which I love. The fact that, that Spanky McFarlane star is right next to Mako's. I love stuff like that. But I realized, I'm like, oh, here's Harrison Ford's, which I think is right outside the Hard Rock. And I got a beautiful photo of it one day. Well, it was raining.
Yeah, it's right down there in the heart of everything where you want his star. So, but yeah,
God,
to your
block
point,
away
I
from
have not
Sharon
seen-
Glass and oh, sorry. never mind.
but I have not seen a silent film Harrison Ford movie. So
No,
not-
which would
that
make a
will-
great
that will
April
have to be-
Fool's Day show for this show. We just come on with the Ford Fiesta, and it's nothing about the old Harrison Ford from the silent era.
Hang on, I'm going to write that down.
down.
For you. Yeah,
It's a good idea. I'm going to write that down, Ron.
Fool's Show, silent Harrison Ford.
There we go.
Brennan, we thank you for the inspiration.
Right.
All right, so
Nobody here
Shell,
will
I'm
be
gonna
surprised, but you know.
I'm going to hit record on the old QuickTime, and let's get to the.
What a great greeting! That is a reference to Return of the Jedi, and these are why these are our friends. You can say, "Greetings, exalted ones," and I know exactly what he's talking about. And if I was in a crowd of people and someone said, "Greeting, exalted one," I'd say, "That's the guy I want to talk to."
And already the research is being done. April 1, 2024 is a Monday, so there you go.
That was my next question. Oh, you guys
We
are the
need
best.
an intern
This is
because I need people to come up with this stuff all the time, not just while we're doing the show.
Yeah.
But-
What's the line in Rushmore? What's his little Dirk, take dictation. I just want to be able to say, Dirk, take dictation. And that April Fool's thing gets done.
And have a Dirk. Yeah.
And have a Dirk.
All right, you ready?
Yes, Paul, I will ask you, I'm hitting record on QuickTime. I assume David is as well. Paul, make sure that yours is set up to go to your microphone. I would have hit record and didn't realize. I just checked and it was set to my cameras. So make sure the microphone.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've ever changed it. So yeah, it's not. It is set.
I haven't either, and it just changed. So I'm like,
oh, weird.
So I'm like, oh, check every time now. Hey, are we starting at the top of the show?
Yes.
Or are we starting with the recap?
Do it at
We
the
haven't
end of
done
the
this
recap.
part. Okay.
Correct.
Right on. It's a whole show we got prepared for you guys today. Actually, Paul prepared the show a lot today. It was very nice.
I get inspired now and then. I was inspired to do this and not edit the frantic finished Ford Fiesta episode. So that will be delayed. But today, good stuff coming your way. Here we go. You ready?
Right on. Let's do it. Let's do a show.
Fired up.
Recording. This week's Ford Fiesta sees the return of Donald Moffat as someone Harrison Ford has to deal with.
In Regarding Henry, Moffat played Henry's boss, who made the leap of a decision to think Henry might not be a great lawyer anymore after being shot in the head.
In Clear and Present Danger, Moffat plays the President of the United States, a more aggressive jerk using Nixonian tactics to run a secret war against drug lords in Mexico.
I'm saying that when the president does it, that means it's not illegal.
Mexico, what better pay... The shortest line I screwed up. Mexico, what better place for the Ford Fiesta?
Fiesta!
1, 2, 3!
Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm Adam. How dare you come in here and lecture me? Wit.
And I'm Paul. How dare you, sir? Preston.
Clear and Present Danger is another Tom Clancy novel adaptation that ditches all the Irish stuff and doubles down on the manly military stuff.
Not a surprise with John Milius' name in the credits, but we do get to see Ford go from half-nerd analyst to sweaty in the Mexican jungle, rocking aviator... I wrote this. But we do get to see Ford go from half-nerd analyst to sweaty in the Mexican jungle, rocking aviators like a champ.
Boom. In interviews, Harrison Ford has called his performance here another for a running... In interviews, Harrison Ford has called his performance here for another... sorry. In interviews, Harrison Ford has called his performance here another for a running, jumping, falling down guy. Well, we love that! But there's a story here too, and we'll go over all of it with our famous and patented Movie Guys recap. But first...
what's new in the world of Harrison Ford? Well, we've heard of Kurt Russell and Burt Reynolds auditioning for Han Solo, but this news came out perhaps with the release recently of the reboot of Frasier. Kelsey Grammer?
What?
Okay. Lucas says, we're making this thing about it's a fairy tale in space. This is what I'm quoting actually Kelsey Grammer here.
Okay.
Lucas said, we're making this thing about it's a fairy tale in space, about two guys rescue a princess. And Grammer says, great, sounds like fun. Lucas says, you're right. There's two parts. Maybe the older guy, he's kind of, a gunslinging kind of guy, an adventurer. So he's telling a whole story about clearly how Grammer was talked to briefly about Han Solo.
Wow.
That would have been very, very different.
How young would he have been then? I mean, I guess, is he Kurt Russell's age? He's always seemed older, right? Kelsey Grammer's always, he came onto the scene at 40, right? Even though he was 20 or whatever.
But I don't think he's 70 yet. So, I don't think. So, Russell's got about 72, I think. But, yeah, I could just imagine some of I don't know, Niles. I can imagine quite a bit.
Yeah, and cue the Han Solo lines as Kelsey Grammer from Paul, who does a pretty good both.
Oh yeah, what would be the other one? Never mind. But anyway,
we're all fine here. Give me. We're all fine here. Just the hottie. Well, I'm fine. We're all do that.
No, that's it. Well, naturally, we're all fine down here, and good. And how are you? First, we get a nice Pinot Noir sent down to the detention center.
Boring conversation, anyway. Yeah, that's a first. We thought we've heard all the casting things, but that's a first.
Sorry, I lost you. Broke up for a second there, so I'm not right on your reaction. Sorry. But let's get to Googling Harrison Ford news. Please. If you do that, you get the following. Ford was spotted in Knoxville, Tennessee a month or so ago. A bus driver snapped a selfie, but other than that, there's no record as to why he was there. But here's what some people figured out. Callista's parents live in a nearby city. Oh. So he was probably, I guess he was spotted there in 2018 with Callista as well. So his wife, the in-laws, 82. He's got the in-laws or whatever. He's not 82 yet, but he's 81. He's got the in-laws. Crazy.
Right. Oh, how funny is that? Because Paul, you and I are always saying all these articles are like, Harrison Ford was out and about near Adam's house or near Paul's house, basically. You're like, why? Wait, I could be out and about and I could actually run into Harrison Ford. It'd be so funny if I fly home to my parents and run into him in like the Nashville airport.
Yeah. Right. And he's landing his own plane there. So
that's true. Oh, that'd be, yeah. He probably doesn't come through the regular terminal.
But one more quick recurring show segment before we get to the recap. S.
Date.
N.
Ford.
History.
History.
My God, history.
By the way,
Dad?
I want to tag
Daphne?
onto that last. I want to tag onto that last thing that I ran into Danny Trejo in an airport. This is remember that long 13-hour thing that happened to get to my uncle's funeral in Ohio? So much happened on that the fact that I ran into Danny Trejo in an airport was forgotten by me for weeks till I saw Danny Trejo and I was like, oh, wait a second. I saw him in the Dayton airport.
Is he shorter than he looks?
Oh my God, yes. Name the shortest actor you know.
Michael J. Fox?
That's what throws you off. Yeah, he's the size of Michael J. Fox. And that's what throws you off because you look at him and literally nobody looks like Danny Trejo except for Dan. If you are seeing someone and you think to yourself, hey, is that Danny Trejo? It's definitely Danny Trejo. And so I'm standing there the whole time. I'm like, that's Danny Trejo, but he's 4 feet tall. Like, that can't be Danny Trejo. But I've heard Schwarzenegger short. I've heard, Stallone short. Tom Cruise, famously. He's Tom Cruise height. Danny Trejo and Tom Cruise are the same height. But that was crazy. It was like Dayton Airport. And then people started getting pictures with him. I go, that was Danny Trejo.
Must be a lot of low angles or something used on him.
Oh, yeah. That's the Apple box.
Remember the joke? So huge.
Remember the joke we were going to do for the fan favorites, where I wanted to have an Apple box so that one of our competitors could reach the microphone.
Yeah, Paige.
Sorry,
probably right?
Paige. I'm blanking on the name, so that Paige could reach the microphone, and I wanted as a bit to have the to bring out the Apple box that was the Tom Cruise signature Apple box, as though he had put his. The Apple box is a thing that makes you a half a foot tall or whatever.
Yeah, she'll need it. Well, speaking of the Schmodown and our friends in it, November 10th, 2010, Morning Glory is released. Now, Morning Glory is a movie I saw for the first time during the lockdown when I was trying to catch up on stuff. And I don't really announce these too far in advance, but I will say when we get to the Morning Glory episode of the Ford Fiesta, Peggy Gubbins will be our guest. She has reached out and wanted to join us to talk about that movie. And it is interesting, the ones that people reach out for, like when Adam Collins was like, gotta talk Mosquito Coast. Do you?
Right.
Okay. And so she wants to talk Morning Glory. And after watching it, I get it. It's a charming, funny, sometimes scathing movie.
I was unprepared for how good Harrison Ford is in that movie. I mean, that might have somewhat led to, I'm filling in these later years. Like, there's a lot of Harrison Ford movies I haven't seen. I just sort of dismissed out of hand on some of these. I'm like, I don't know if that's going to interest me. Or, Morning Glory. It's like, I don't know. Seems like a weird turn for Harrison Ford. But, oh my God, the comedy in that and how they use his voice as a gruff dude and make him, the pompous newscaster, which he does so good. I had lunch with Dick Cheney. Are you frozen or am I? I think I'm frozen. Is it him? Is it me? Which one of us is live is the question here. Oh, it's Paul. Oh, Paul is frozen. Thank you for clarifying. That's okay. While Paul leaves and comes back in, I will share a brief story. Yes, he just left here. Here, let's talk about something. This is off topic. We'll get back to the script in a moment here. While Paul is gone, on October 31st, this happened in my neighborhood. So I moved to Hollywood. This is Raffalo's Pizza on the corner of La Brea and Hollywood. This is my local pizza shop. I'm there all the time. This is where I get my pizza on Friday nights, and I'll sit. Halloween night, Alan Ruck, Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Hi, Paul. I just went ahead and started telling the story while you were getting back up and going.
My computer died.
Did your whole computer died? Yeah, you froze.
The whole computer
big time.
Died.
Yeah, you froze big time, like not like a normal freeze. But of course, I'm so used to when we started the show, my internet was the bad internet, so I was like, "Is it me?"
Now,
luckily, everybody.
I get down to 68%. I better start charging. Like that's where my computer's at now. So it went from like 68% to 0.
Oh, take a new battery in it. It's an old computer. It might not be too expensive.
Yeah, I thought I was plugged in too, but if it's also to where like if the plug just leans a little away from the computer, it'll unhook. Anyway,
Paul,
that's the tech update of the day.
Paul, do you need to save your QuickTime that you started? Or is that junk?
I think it's gone. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah. But I'm starting a new one.
Okay, everybody.
Anyway,
this is
Morning Glory.
This is the show where we record the show. It's a recording session that we've decided to host as our regular show. So, if you guys want to leave, go for it. Yeah, whatever. You'll miss all of our fun jokes. All right, I'll save this one anyway, but let's start a new one here. CPD.
And while you're doing that, I will record my thoughts on Morning Glory, which were to capitalize on yours. Yeah, it seems like this may have been the start of the leaning into the grump, although he wasn't outwardly grumpy. He was just sort of like skeptically better than the other people around him, and that led to great comedy. So I think from then on it was Anchorman, right, too, and
oh right. Well, that's why that
stuff
defines. We'll have to say this again because we have to start the show again.
What?
We have to do the whole show again, right? You lost the quick time from.
I did, but I got the recording here, in the.
All right, okay.
I mean, that's not a great thing, but.
All right, start a new one. Check your microphone. Then we'll just do that, and then because then I got to record. We'll finish
everything's fine except for the computer turning off entirely.
And we're all fine here now. How are you? Yeah. So, what was that last point? Because I wasn't recording on Morning Glory. Oh yeah. He was leaning into the grump.
Yeah. All right. Let's get down to the plot of Clear and Present Danger.
Hold on. Let me finish that thought for the editing to just say, well, I guess you're right. We're recording the show, but that it was leaning into the grump that defines the phase 6, I believe, or whatever for Harrison Ford.
Yeah. You're the keeper of the phases. So you tell me if that's number 6, that's number 6.
But I think so, because I think we're on phase 4 right now, which is the return to greatness. Phase 5 is when he stops being the lead, and phase 6 is when he embraces the grump while continuing not to be the lead.
I'm sure his plan all along.
Absolutely. It feels like it.
All right, let's get down to the plot of Clear and Present Danger.
Shall we? Oh, sorry, I'm coming right off your line. Paul, serve me up again.
All right, let's get down to the plot of Clear and Present Danger.
Or, as our late great friend and movie guy Steve Lewis forever pronounced the title after seeing missing letters on the marquee of the Broadway Odeon in Chicago, Leer and Resent Anger.
I have no time to explain to the kids what a movie marquee is. It's time for the recap.
Clear and Present Danger is the second and final movie in the Jack Ryan duology, unless you count the ones without Harrison Ford in them. And who would?
Actually, Clear and Present Danger is the third adaptation of Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan novels after Patriot Games and The Hunt for Red October, in which Alec Baldwin portrayed Jack Ryan.
Who the fuck died and made you Grace Kelly?
Our story begins with the death of an American businessman and his family. The businessman was found where you find all rich American dudes.
I'm on a boat! I'm on a boat! Everybody look at me because I'm sailing on a boat!
Turns out the businessman Peter Hardin was murdered by... No. How can a clip be entirely missing here? Blarg.
Because we try and do too much, Paul. We try and bring too much entertainment to the audience, and sometimes it bites us in the ass. Just
No, not the Libyans, the Colombians, and then we'll cut to a hilarious "We don't talk about Bruno" clip that I can't even pronounce. Anyway. Turns out Hardin was laundering. Yes,
I'm saying that reference goes over my head anyway.
Yeah, you need to see Encanto. Well, you don't, but turns out Hardin was laundering money for the South American cartel, and drug lord Ernesto Escobedo killed him for embezzling millions of drug profits. Let me try that.
But Hardin was a close friend of the President of the United States. Yeah.
Because millions of drug profits is not a sentence. Turns out Hardin was laundering money for the South American cartel, and drug lord Ernesto Escobedo killed him for embezzling millions in drug profits.
But Hardin was a close friend of the President of the United States.
Get off my plane.
No, not that president. Harrison Ford can't play the president and knighted CIA analyst Jack Ryan.
Don't do that. Don't put Sir Harrison Ford in the corner. Nobody puts Sir Harrison Ford in the corner. How dare you, sir?
Okay, look. President Bennett is played by the most President of the United States looking character actor alive, who's not James Cromwell, Donald Moffat. Donald Moffat, who looks exactly as the name sounds, is perfect as a smarmy, privileged U.S. president who takes swift action to avenge his fellow rich friend by starting a covert war with the cartel in Colombia. And it's here, 9 minutes and 15 seconds into the film, we have title.
These drug
Yes.
cartels represent a clear and present danger.
I hate the way these clips get cut off by the stupid. You're killing our comedy, StreamYard. Why would you fade out a clip?
That is weird. I thought we had control over that.
I
thought
look
we had
all over
control.
for that. If anyone knows, put it in the chat, please, because I can't find that to save my balls. Anyway.
Were you looking for this clip?
Yeah, where was that?
It was right above the one you just played.
Not on my thing. It says,
What?
Grace Kelly, Lonely Island, Libyans, get off my plane.
Oh, well, I'll keep up on that in case that happens again. Weird.
Yeah,
All right, now we got to go with we have title to go into the UCB one as well.
Oh, yeah, what do we have? That's you go ahead and do that.
All right. All right, so we go from it's Paul says
oh, I see. Oh, it goes right into it.
We
Sorry,
have title. Yeah, that's okay.
Ah, boy. I'm just so tired of all these Star Wars.
The titular line, of course. President Bennett enlists the National Security Advisor James Cutter to oversee the secret mission. And you thought that guy salad that this movie was. Oh, that's a line I didn't finish writing. Let me just, never mind. I had that on my old draft. Okay. President Bennett enlists the National Security Advisor James Cutter to oversee the secret mission. Cutter is played by one of the many that guys in Clear and Present Danger has to offer. Cutter is played by one of the many that guys Clear and Present Danger has to offer. Harris Yulin, who usually fills in the role when that guy is a powerful asshole. And Harris Yulin excels at being a powerful asshole. But that's
not what this movie's about. It's about Harrison Ford's Jack Ryan, who becomes acting deputy director of intelligence when Admiral James Greer, played by James Earl Jones, becomes ill with pancreatic cancer. I think we have a clip of that.
Help me take this mask off.
All right, I don't think we played the right clip there. But the point is, now we get Ford dropping the macho tough guy veneer and going full super puss mode. So instead of whooping a dude's ass, he's instead doing things like making funding requests of Congress.
But in order to get congressional funding meant to help the Colombians, he has to promise, and then double promise, and even double secret promise, that the money won't be used to fund sending a special forces team to Colombia to do the president's bidding.
You could further assure us, then, that this increase in funds, this escalation, to use your word, will not be used for any covert military action.
I don't know how you're getting to this.
Long experience, sir. No troops, then. I enunciate that clearly because I don't want there to be any mistake.
No troops.
You could say I have your word on that.
You could indeed, because you do.
The money then gets used to send special forces team to Colombia in Operation Reciprocity.
Oh, which means somewhere in the White House they had to have a meeting to decide that name. And I think it went a little something like this.
Operation Rapprochement? Maybe Operation Rapport. How about Operation Michael Rappaport?
How about Operation Mutuality?
It's a little on the nose. I still like Operation Reciprocality.
Well, who knows what a reciprocality is?
Well, how about Operation Reciprocity?
Ding, 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 ding. Oh, wait, sorry. I thought it was over. Sorry, here we go. You're just changing a couple letters from my suggestion to get your own in there.
All right. Let's go down the ones we don't hate one more time. Operation Cooperation?
I guess they cut that whole scene up.
I think they did. The Operation Reciprocity team is put together by CIA operative John Clark, played by Willem Dafoe, John Clark, Jack Ryan, President Bennett. Not a lot of Irving Himmelmans in Tom Clancy novels, it seems.
The worm-like CIA Deputy Director of Operations is also behind Reciprocity, and he's played by Henry Czerny, who also plays Agent Eugene Kittredge in the Mission Impossible franchise. And you'll be wondering which dialogue is from which film when I play this.
Kept out of it. You're neck deep in it. Why don't we quietly get out of here onto a plane? Look at you.
You see everything in black and white.
You have bribed, cajoled, and killed, and you have done it using loyalties on the inside.
The silent Z is for excellence.
Yeah, you can't tell which of those lines is from which movie. But don't get us wrong, that's only because Henry Czerny excels at being a weasel.
Mm-hmm. Major weasel. But despite his attempts to stay out of the shit, President Bennett sends Ryan down to work with the Colombian government to hassle Escobedo.
What are they going to do? Come after me? Arrest me?
Actually, they're going to seize $650 million of your money.
They're stealing my money!
Ryan is greeted by the orders of Felix Cortez, Escobedo's intelligence officer. Those orders being an RPG ambush. And finally, after a lot of politicians flapping their yap, Clear and Present Danger offers up the action goods as imagined through the staging of war-obsessed writer John Milius. So you can imagine it sounds a little something like that.
Wow. A ton of characters are killed, including Dan.
Dan!
Not sure who Dan is, but Harrison Ford seems upset about it, so we thought we should include it here.
Dan!
But Ford survives, which is more than can be said for the FBI Director's Secretary Moira, played by Making Mr. Right's Ann Magnuson. Magnuson was in Panic Room, Desperately Seeking Susan, but you go with Making Mr. Right, right? I think I'm going to deliver that one again. I like that line. But Ford survives, which is more than can be said for the FBI Director's Secretary Moira, played by Making Mr. Right's Ann Magnuson. Magnuson was in Panic Room and Desperately Seeking Susan, but you go with Making Mr. Right, right? Anyway, she leaked a bunch of info to Cortez because she has the hots for him now, and now she's dead. Oh, sorry. Anyway, she leaked a bunch of info to Cortez because she was hot for him, and now she's dead.
Cortez may look like the Latino Phil Hartman, but he's more than just a caveman. You see, Cortez was also two-facing Escobedo by ordering the hit on Ryan's envoy, making it look like the cartel was attacking the U.S.
In response, Escobedo figures the best thing he could do is gather all the cartel heads together in one place for a meeting. What could go wrong? They all die. Even Dan.
Dan!
What? Again?
Dan!
Due to what can only be assumed to be a crap Lyft driver, Escobedo and Cortez were still on their way to the meeting when the meeting location was blown to smithereens, so they survived. This prompts Cortez to double down on his commitment to Escobedo.
What?
No, of course not. He scumbags up and cuts a deal with the Americans, specifically that asshole Cutter.
Let me just go on record as saying that there's no place for fake charlatans.
Your Honor?
Shut up!
It's better than that. It's better than that. Cortez promises to kill Escobedo and assume leadership of the cartel and put a good visual on the U.S.'s war on drugs. Oh, and in exchange, the CIA wants all the soldiers on the reciprocity mission dead.
I want him dead. I want his family dead. I want his house burnt to the ground. I want to go to the middle of the night. I want to piss on his ass.
And Cutter accepts this.
You dick!
This leaves a few soldiers to get kidnapped, and Willem Dafoe stranded in the jungle to get wiped out. A position he's actually familiar with.
I got wrapped up in that.
Excellent film.
But Nerd Jack Ryan is on the case, and he tries to hack Ritter's computer, 90s style. That's right.
Sorry, that would just keep playing underneath the next few lines. But anyway.
Oh, okay. That's right. Ryan and Ritter engage in a good old-fashioned 1990s computer fight.
Patent pending.
Do I read this before you play the computer fight clip I gave you?
Yes, I don't know. You know what it is, so you want to give an intro to this clip since I don't know what it is.
It's a race.
Oh, we have actual footage of the computer fight here or something, whatever it is. I don't know what.
Yeah, let me read this line first, and then we'll just do it.
Okay.
It's a race against dial-up as Ryan tries to find the online files on Ritter's Commodore 64 that may incriminate him in the plot to illegally put U.S. soldiers in harm's way. With 56 kilobits per second working against him, he struggles, but eventually whips up some evidence on a dot matrix printer and throws it in Ritter's face.
You broke the law. You are such a Boy Scout.
Now go ahead and play the computer fight. Well, I'll drop that in there somewhere.
Do you want to give it an introduction or no?
No, it's just the computer fight. It's just I tinkered with it. In fact, it won't be for the audio podcast because it's only funny right here.
Oh, well, here it is.
Yeah.
Computer theft is a serious crime.
So are crimes against the Constitution.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I love the same day, hurry up before we go live screen replacements in that.
Right. Well, you know, yeah, special effects by Industrial Light and Magic on that one.
Right, of course. Eventually, Ryan.
Sorry.
Eventually, Ryan realizes the only way out is to go to Bogota and seek out Clark, who is alive and rightfully pissed.
You know how much I sacrificed?
The two have to talk it out because Clark was told Ryan betrayed the reciprocity team. But eventually, the two men realize Ritter and Cutter betrayed them both. So Ryan has only one out. He's got to go all the firm with the plot, taking the whole story to the Moroltos, as it were.
That's right. Ryan goes to Escobedo to talk this out. What?
He said it seemed to be a good idea at the time.
But hey, if Escobedo learns of Cortez's betrayal, who knows what he'll be... But hey, if Escobedo learns of Cortez's betrayal, who knows what... Sorry. But hey, if Escobedo learns of Cortez's betrayal, who knows what he'll be willing to do to help? And behind the scenes, Clark will stage a rescue of the kidnapped soldiers.
Meanwhile, Cortez's goon comes into the spotlight and kills Escobedo. Ryan tries his best to be an action hero, but as awkward as it looks, Harrison Ford can't help but come shining through as he fist fights and jumps onto a helicopter like a champ. Eventually, Cortez is also killed, appropriately, by a surviving U.S. soldier.
Back in the United States, Ryan confronts President Bennett and refuses to help cover up the conspiracy, to which Donald Moffat spouts a load of privileged nonsense, because Donald Moffat excels at spouting privileged nonsense. I'm going to give that whole line a shot again.
And then I'm not seeing the
I pulled the whole
CAPD5
clip.
Yeah.
Hold on. I pulled the whole clip here of where he confronts him. Here.
Well, I have them split apart.
Oh no, I don't.
Don't worry about it. I have
Never mind.
CAPD 5 and 6, but CAPD 5 is I can't see it. My computer's just acting weird today. Clips are just missing.
Oh, I think this is one that didn't make it all the way up because we've got too many clips, which is a constant problem on this show.
I didn't see it until I got to the stills, but
it's such a great final scene too. Oh well, I'm not going to worry about it. Back in the United States, Ryan confronts President Bennett and refuses to help cover up the conspiracy, to which Donald Moffat spouts a load of privileged nonsense, because Donald Moffat excels at spouting privileged nonsense. But you don't try and righteous anger the master without catching both barrels in return.
How dare you, sir?
Finally, the film ends with Ryan testifying about all he's been through and all the political cover-up he's seen at a congressional hearing, which leaves us in a hopeful note, because I think we can all agree that if you want swift justice and something done right and quickly, go through Congress. Hey, it's clear and present danger, everybody. CAPD, as the kids are calling it.
Hey, could you give me that last line again? Sure. Did you throw the script?
I did. Yeah, I did. Finally, the film ends with Ryan testifying about all he's been through and all the political cover. Finally, the film ends with Ryan testifying about all he's been through and all the political cover-up he's seen at a congressional hearing, which leaves us on a hopeful note, because I think we can all agree that if you want swift justice and something done right and quickly, go through Congress. Hey, a congressional joke, and that's clear and present.
Wow, got a little political at the end there, Paul.
What the hey?
Yeah. By the way, it didn't make it in the script, but I did pull the two clips. The points and shouts with Henry Czerny. This is.
Let me stop recording here real quick, and we'll go over.
Oh yeah. Do that. David, you can stop recording.
Thank you.
And save CPD script. Adam. Boom. Look at that. Right before your eyes. You guys didn't know we were recording a whole show here because it seems so loose and free. Right. Like we're just hanging out. Like Paul and I are just discussing Clear and Present Danger. But really, behind the scenes, we're recording the whole thing. And when you hear that back, it's going to sound really good.
Yeah, it all comes out in the end. But let me get your... I sent you the link here.
Yeah, I do want to show that final scene. I love that final scene so much. I must not have even exported that, I don't think. How dare you, sir?
So, I think when we did the second half of the episode, we did 6 punches, which is more than I thought. And points and shouts, are basically all over the Ritter scene. So you have that clip. Go ahead and fire it up.
Yeah. Here, this is just some, like you don't try and outrighteously anger the master here.
Who authorized this? I'm sure they'll ask you that.
Who authorized this?
I have no recollection, Senator.
I did not sign up for this. This is somebody's bullshit political agenda.
Hell yeah. And when he comes into the office,
grab a...
Oh yeah.
Grab a guy. He does it a lot,
But grab him. No, in this case, he grabs him, turns him, and points with the anger, man. That's an all-timer right there. But you done effed up when Harrison Ford comes in to your office with this much. I played these out of order, but this is the beginning of that scene. This is, you're effed.
What do you think you have there? You broke the law. You are such a Boy Scout. Look at you.
You see everything in black and white.
No. Not black and white, Ritter. Right and wrong.
Oh, you see? There you go again.
Why was I kept out of it?
You weren't kept out of it. Your neck deep in it. You went before Congress and you got the money for it. You went before Congress and you lied to
I never lied to Congress.
You lied
You know I didn't lie to Congress.
Line advised.
Give me
you
that
told
shit.
them no troops. There are troops.
Jack, I didn't know that. You know I didn't know that.
No, I have no recollection of that. That's the term you have to learn.
That's like 12 points in one scene.
He's Henry Czerny's got this, and actually I pulled Mission Impossible earlier. Those were back-to-back years of him being a weasel.
Yeah. Oh, this is the year after Mission Impossible?
Before, I believe. So 94,
Or
this
year
is
before.
95 Mission Impossible. And Mission Impossible might have been 96.
I think it's 96, yeah. But
yeah, so but either way, pretty close to one another. He was establishing himself in the mid 90s as 80s. We had William Atherton. He's like, I can William Atherton the 90s
from Ghostbusters, right? The William Atherton of the 90s. Yeah, you can't.
Let's go through some of these thoughts here that came up while we were doing that. Do they even have tossed salad and scrambled eggs in space? Probably, but it'll all be powdered salad and powdered eggs.
But in space, you can't hear the tossed salad and scrambled eggs scream.
Right. Sideshow Bob is Han Solo. What is it? A dish best served cold. Is it ice cream? Some of the greatest jokes in The Simpsons are actually in the queue line of the ride at Universal.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Maybe you could be like, let's go on the ride. We'll be like that. We'll be the first people on the ride. We'll be like that space guy that did that moon thing. Neil Armstrong? No, Chewbacca. Let's see. Oh, you were telling your Alan Ruck story. We'll get back to that in just a second here. And I also have a tie into Star Trek Generations, which is interesting. Steering wheel cutout.
Yeah.
It doesn't get installed until Tuesday. Oh, a lot of people know this stuff.
Alan Ruck and James Cromwell of Star Trek fame.
Yes, there it is. Yeah. Let's see. I sure wish I was out of Africa. That's another
right. So that's the
title line
that'll
never be.
Yeah, that's
boy. I'm just so tired of all these Star Wars.
Gonna have to add an extra second to the end of every.
I know it's tough if there's another line right after it, or if movieclips.com brings that boom 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 thing at the end that they always do. In order to get funding, Jack Ryan had to promise to vote for Kevin McCarthy. That's funny. The Congress, they all bunch of.
I immediately went to Kevin McCarthy from the.
From Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers. They're already here. They're already here.
Dan.
It is funny what you focus in on.
Yeah.
Dan.
Oh, we didn't have one of these. And
Making Mr. Right.
Yeah, I think that's about all we had in the comments. But yeah, so you want to continue your Alan
They were
Ruck
too
story?
busy enjoying our comedy, Paul.
Right.
Yeah, so
shit computer.
Yeah, when your computer went out there, I was filling time, and we'll go right back into it. But yeah, so I mean, I love that I'm in Hollywood here. This is such a cool neighborhood. I used to work right on this corner, so I dig being here. But the craziest thing, while we were at Dan and Mara's wedding, Cameron, Alan Ruck, crashed into my pizza shop. This is where I go on Friday nights and grab myself a slice of pizza. There I am with the wreckage. There's my lovely corner. And here is a great mashup that the right people will get the joke.
Those right people watch our show.
All of them are here right now, right? That's a good one, right, guys? Okay, that all I need is to hear that you guys liked it. Yeah. So that was just crazy. That was so much fun. And I have a piece of the wall, Paul. If you want a piece, I got a couple pieces, like the Berlin Wall. I got pieces of the wall from the Raffalos.
Nice.
Yeah. So finish that story.
So between Alan Ruck and of Star Trek Generations, I went to Vegas over the weekend, and I went for every weird, fun Vegas thing I like to do. Susan and I went to see Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. But then I wanted to go see this murder mystery. My friend was in. She's like, well, we got to do an outdoor thing. So we went to Valley of Fire State Park, which they film movies there. So, of course, they did. There's even one called The Professionals, which I've never heard of. It was from like 1966. And some of the set is still there. You know this movie?
Yeah, The Professionals was a Lee Marvin movie. That's like a get 12 of the badass actors together and have them go, not take any shit from somebody who's giving somebody else shit. I think that's what that movie's about.
Well, they never said who was in it. I would love to have heard that. They just said The Professionals filmed here, and there's a whole piece of the set there. Actually, I'd probably show it to you.
Cool.
Yeah, the internet would know, or our people in our chat, one or the other. But there's a whole section where there's a piece of that set still standing. In fact, here it is. I didn't get a chance to load in this stuff, but you can probably see it there. So it's like a big piece of some building they built for the movie.
Paul, that looks a lot like a set from A Time for Killing. That looks like totally where a battle would take place in A Time for Killing.
Oh yeah,
makes me think you have to find the locations from A Time for Killing.
They're on a set somewhere. Then this is also how it looks. And I found out they shot Star Trek Generations there. So this is no doubt where whoa, what happened? There, come back. There's no doubt where Kirk died, right? This is the opening of the film. Somewhere around there. Somewhere all around here. It's Vasquez Rocks looking, but in Nevada.
Yeah. In Nevada, huh?
Yeah.
You said Star Trek Generations was shot there, or this is your theory?
Yes. But I didn't find any specific place. Like with The Professionals, there's a big piece of building there. They just said Generations. But when I looked around, I'm like, oh, yeah, any of this area could be. But now if I watch the sequence from the film where Kirk dies at the top, I think oh, okay, yeah, I see what they're doing there. There are a number of trails, but probably only a few places where you could really logistically get a bunch of film equipment in and shoot.
Is that pretty close to civilization for hiking there, or did you have to like rent another 4x4 and head out into the wilderness?
No, this was the outdoor stuff to do near Vegas is plentiful. There's a lot.
Yeah.
So when I go and do whatever the Sphere next month and see U2 and all that, an hour away could be all sorts of stuff. Susan and I once went just kayaking on the Colorado River. Went to a place called Emerald Cave. It's all green. Mount Charleston, if you want the forest is like 45 minutes from Vegas. You just wouldn't know it by any visuals, but you go up into the mountains nearby and they turn to pine trees up there and mountains and stuff. So that's very cool. And then this Valley of Fire State Park's been on my list for a while. Red Rock State Park is right next to Summerlin, so it's on the east side of Vegas itself. The freeway will drop you off practically right there. So if you ever want to do something outdoorsy in Vegas, that's the number one thing to do, just because of its proximity. But yeah, we've done all that stuff, and there's no doubt more to be done.
That's if you want to leave all the glory that is the Rio, which is where I spend all of my time when I'm in Vegas. And I the first couple times it was quarantine because I was working there and you couldn't leave. And this time everything was open. And I was like, you know what? For the first time in my many times staying here in Vegas, I'm going to leave the Rio Hotel. I needn't have bothered.
Mistake.
Everything I like is at the Rio. That's my home when I'm there.
Yeah. Of course, the F1 race is coming there, the IndyCar race.
That's pretty cool.
They're redoing a lot of the roads to accommodate that, to build seating and to build, safety rails on the side or whatever it is they do.
What a great place to do that. That's awesome.
That will be probably like a week. So I didn't go anywhere near any of that. I came in from Sahara, went down to Circus where we stayed because we cashed in points. We didn't pay a dime except for their stupid resort fee.
Look at you.
And went out that way too. And Valley of Fire is north, so we just avoided this trip entirely.
Tierra del Fuego.
What is that? I know what that is.
I think that's is that called Tierra del Fuego? There's a line in Fletch where he makes fun of every time someone speaks Spanish to him in Fletch, he responds in something
that's what it is. Right.
And so somebody says Buenos dias, he says Tierra del Fuego. Yeah.
Right.
Which means land of the fire.
Something else Adam and I did recently, we should point out. We went to see E.T. in concert. Not exactly a Harrison Ford movie, but obviously involves many.
Isn't it, Paul?
Well, it almost was.
Yes.
Until he was cut out.
He is in that movie originally, yeah.
Yeah.
Does everyone know that?
But
find that clip.
I think we played it here because early on I thought that he was doing like a teacher character when the teacher was coming on screen. Because you could argue that the teacher sounds like Harrison Ford doing a character, doing a stuffy kind of character like this, perhaps. You know, Spider's not such a bad fella.
Oh yeah, and his scene with
Henry Thomas, right?
Yeah, what's the nerd in Blade Runner that he uses that voice? I'm the Association of Variety Artists. No, that is not him as the teacher.
So yeah, he was almost in it, but of course Spielberg, you get John Williams, you got all these people that he's worked with before, and a film that's just magnificent in concert and a magnificent venue, the Walt Disney Concert Hall. I've only been there once before to see Steve Martin years ago with the Steep Canyon Rangers, but yeah, just a dynamic place. And respect out to whoever disposed of that and the ET shirt.
Yeah, that was
and his wife wrote it.
Yeah, and that's like another connection which I totally forgot about.
Melissa Matheson, rest in peace.
Yeah, I know.
I think they married after that, so somewhere around here they met probably. But yeah, just a great night. And look who shows up to say hello to the crowd. It's J Dubs himself, John Williams.
I mean, what a legend! Look at that legend.
Yeah, stood up, went nuts. And that is on his right, Gustavo Dudamel, who runs at least for another 2 years, the LA Phil. And if you get a chance to see him, he is a dynamic conductor, really cool.
Yeah.
And this is that venue from the outside, the Walt Disney Concert Hall, the Frank Gehry architecture. It's just crazy.
Blows the mind every time you walk into that place. Look at that.
Especially when you go into like square rooms and you're like, well, it doesn't have to be square on the outside, clearly. So he's make those cool choices.
Yeah. And the thing is, I mean, this is played in concert all over the place. John Williams never comes to it. That was I did not expect to see John Williams because he's just got, I mean, what's he going to do? Watch ET again? But he's there. He waves. And it must be because even though he could see ET any time of the year where it's showing somewhere else or whatever, but he came, and I think he came because that is the most acoustically perfect place I've ever sat in.
And he came halfway through, so he was not mad about watching the second half of that movie again. And this made me alter my all-time grades. They're constantly altering. But number one is Raiders, now and forever. Number two is Star Wars, just because really it should be number one, but I love Raiders so much. It should be everybody's number one. But and then number three is ET. I told Adam, I said, I can sit around here and say, like, boy, Dr. Strangelove and sound like a smart artistic person. But the number three movie is ET. Adam and I both cried like fools, and we've seen the thing 100 times. We've even seen it in concert once before like this.
We have.
And it still was effective. It's just a magnificent movie.
And it's so much more effective with the sound the way it is because it's so immersive. That movie is so much more of a rock star than if someone has not seen it this year from beginning to end. I don't know if you've seen E.T. It is that movie always strikes me as this movie is not what I think it is. Like when I think of Mac and Me for some reason, like that E.T. is that, and it is this dark, scary. I mean, it's just got so much. It's just shot like a noir film at times. And yet, man, it pushes all its buttons like a master filmmaker. That movie should not work. It should not be popular. And it's just the pure effort of that filmmaker and that composer and that cast and everything. I have no idea how it works. Oh, that photography. The photographer of what's the other Spielberg one that I love of Daviau?
Well, he shot Empire of the Sun, right? I think.
And that's right. Yeah. Empire of the Sun. Oh my God. That's one of the most well-shot movies of all time. And this one, geesh. But I think everyone would think if they haven't seen this one, like I talked to people shortly after we saw it, and a lot of them were like, oh yeah, it was on TV the other day. Didn't catch the beginning, that sort of vibe or whatever. And I'm like, you watch from the very beginning of this movie, how just meticulously the story is told, and a story that just shouldn't work. For example, I'll give you one thing that shouldn't work in the movie, and that would be bitched about on Twitter if this movie came out today. At some point in the movie, they just start calling him E.T., and they have no reason to explain why they started calling him E.T., except that the movie's called E.T. But, a CinemaSins would say, where'd they get that word? As if anybody want to see a rewrite where he overhears that word. Oh, put that back in. People are confused. Extraterrestrials are sometimes known as ETs. And then he gets to say that later. You're like, well, cut that scene out.
Yeah, there's no scene that sets up the idea that he could create technology to phone home with the items here on Earth.
Yeah.
How about shut your face?
How about there is, actually? Isn't that interesting how he looks at the Flash Gordon thing in the newspaper? I love all the George Lucas references to, Flash Gordon is with Star Wars, he looks at the Flash, or Buck Rogers or something like that, looks at that, and he sees the antenna, and he sees the commercial on TV about phoning home. That actually,
Adam, in the spaceship at the beginning, we needed to see the technology working there so we could see it later, and it would make sense that he would know what to do with the speak and spell.
No. You have made too intellectual an argument. Here's the argument, Paul. It wouldn't work.
Yeah. Okay.
And then people go to movies full of shit that wouldn't work, and if they enjoyed it, then they don't make that complaint. Realism is something that movies never promise, and is only ever put, the need to be realistic is only ever put onto it by audience members, and I think 100% of the time flawed.
E.T. in proper IMAX in San Francisco, one of the greatest movie experiences I've ever had. The very start in the woods with the screen that goes on forever.
No. Yeah. Oh gosh, in proper IMAX. So those trees at the top, I love how they are constantly shooting up at those trees that make you feel as small, because it's the redwoods, makes you feel as small as E.T., and how it somehow is able to put us in E.T.'s footsteps with the trees and everything. It's just, I don't even know how someone makes this movie palatable.
Here, they also just start calling Captain Marvel, and you don't sit there and wonder why. There you go.
That's true. Yeah, right. Who gives a shit? Well, I've thought of this since I was a young kid. Superman the movie. Where's he get that suit? I don't want to see a movie where they tell you where you get. Now, supposedly they sent it with him. You kind of see it, but still, why put it on? It doesn't look anything like the Kryptonian. What's the point? The only reason he really puts on that suit is because that's the suit from the comic books, and that's enough. That's enough.
I was just listening to Smartless on my drive. I finally got into that podcast, and if you know it, with Jason Bateman.
I love Bateman.
Will Arnett and Sean Hayes.
My favorite actor.
So hot. I love him. Anyway, what did I say? Did I say that loud? Anyway, the point is, they had Spielberg on. Their list of guests is insane. And I scrolled through them. I'm like, they got Biden. Wait, they got everybody. So they got Spielberg, and he said something about Raiders of the Lost Ark that I never knew, which is why it's my favorite movie of all time, because I keep experiencing new things. He said, because they were all wanted him to tell a story about how Harrison Ford was sick, he'd eaten something bad, and so that's why they shot the swordsman instead of doing the whole action sequence.
Classic.
But there's one little added thing. He said, but what I really wanted him to do was wipe his brow, which you may notice he does while the swordsman's doing his thing.
Yeah.
And he shits. When he wipes his brow, his brim of his hat flips up, and he says, and that makes it funnier. He looks kind of like Gabby Hayes. And of course, Spielberg says, have your listeners go look up who Gabby Hayes is. But in this being up, it's just a little funnier visual.
True.
So then, killing a guy isn't suddenly just funny, but there's a humorous visual that softens it a little bit as well. Pretty cool. It was great interview. I mean, they just love him, obviously, and it's a completely unfinished interview. You just can't go on long enough with Steven Spielberg.
No. And that's a very good point. You can't go on long enough. And every once in a while, there's a common story like that you'll hear, and you'll hear a little detail to it. And you're like, he has been cut off from telling the full story of this scene by, just doing promos or whatever. Oh, you only need a 30-second response to that. Let me just give you the basics of that. Because for most people, the making of movies should only be as long as the 5-minute HBO behind the scenes. Whereas you and I would watch an HBO behind the scenes and be like, That's all you're going to tell. I knew that much. Like, you know, we need the full. I want a half hour. I want an hour making of the stunts of Raiders style. You know.
Oh, but before we get too far away from ET, I should. I think I sent you this because we often play add to cart, and I hear you have a good add to cart coming up in one of our next shows. Maybe next week, because the goal is hopefully to watch Sabrina with Sabrina Ramirez, who would be our guest on that episode, but she can't join us for the live streams. We would watch it with her, pull some clips, talk about the movie, and should play some clips, but then fill with nonsense. You can tell us all about your new add to cart. But I got a great Adam. I sent this to Adam, and he was like, "Oh, this is added immediately to cart." Original soundtracks, concert works, and songs from 1960 to 2022. Crazy. I don't know when it's coming out, but look at this.
Look at this. I mean, the way they've segmented this. I mean, there is an entire disc just for Clint Eastwood and Robert Altman movies that he did with, you know, there's a CD of just Westerns. There's you get the Anne Sophie Mutter collection, which is already worth the price of admission. Look at it. There's a disc of John Badham and Brian De Palma movies, Martin Ritt and Sidney Pollack movie. I mean, that's just amazing. The Oliver Stone triptych gets its entire own disc. Oh, wow. Look at all this.
Concert works.
Boston Pops.
It's crazy.
And Boston Pops are real classic. Yeah, and early scores. You know, in early scores, that's where you're going to hear so many of the Reavers and so many of these. It's really, really cool. I love the disaster movie trilogy because I only thought he did 2 disaster movies. What's the other one?
Well, let me guess what they are. He did Towering Inferno.
Earthquake. He did Earthquake.
Oh, Earthquake.
And what's the third one? Poseidon Adventure, Towering Inferno, and Earthquake. That's right. And I've never heard Earthquakes. Oh my God, I need this. Now, Paul, you see,
20 CDs.
Paul, what's the move here? All right, so that looks very expensive. So how do I bring this up with my connections to maybe get offered to send me a copy? I can't just text I can't just text his agent and go, hey, this looks cool. A wink, wink, wink. So I don't know how to, but they have sent me one of his couple of his discs before, which is cool.
Just say you get it for your mom, and then just never follow up with that or your mom. I'm just kidding.
That's true. That's true.
No, I can see my sound is shit, or
your visual is broken up. David McKay chiming in, classic video store conversation. Okay, yeah, I know. He goes in the Crystal as a teen, comes out 10 years later. I get. What? Are you here to rent something? What do you want?
Please tell me there's a soul disc dedicated to the Lost in Space theme outtakes. Okay, I didn't see an outtakes on there.
Did he work on Lost in Space? Well, that first disc or the second disc, early scores. Did he work on Lost in Space? That's amazing.
I don't know, but he seems to be speaking from a place of knowing that.
No, he's
60 years of film music,
early TV shows. Oh my gosh, yeah. So I have to hint that to the powers that be on my next time I'm in that circle. That looks amazing. What? Ooh, I have to look this up. That is cool. Jeez, you know, it really amazes me. What'd you say?
Go ahead.
No, I just say it amazes me the things I was obsessed with as a kid that I didn't even realize that a key element was, you know, John Williams at the time. Years later, I learned, that music is not incidental. You can actually go buy it, and here's the person that did it. And he did other thing. You know, it's the same journey we have for any of these artists that we get interested in. But then you go, oh my God, here's another thing I was obsessed with. Here's another thing I was obsessed with, and you know. Right there, I mean that show, I Lost in Space, I was totally obsessed with. It's just that's so cool. Love that.
Did he write this? Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No. I just wanted to say another thing with that. You know, I work with Mike Post, the famous Mike Post, here and there. And when I went down a rabbit hole of his, speaking of what's this have to do with Harrison Ford? You remember there was a Indiana Jones TV show, right? Tales of the Gold Monkey. Paul, you weren't there for all.
Okay. Did you guys go to Sunday school?
You guys go to Sunday school. That's a Mike Post theme, and it's him doing a very John Williams-y sort of thing. Another thing I was obsessed with, the Captain America TV movie. You know who did the score for that? Mike Post. So cool.
Cool. Did he write? Did
golfer.
John Williams or Mike Post write this?
I love this so much. We can start the show with this next time.
Get down! 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 Get down!
Then it starts
watch
to
that
get
all
into
day.
the what's his name? Arbud.
Arbud
shooting
Dwyer,
it.
yeah.
That's uncomfortable.
Yeah, I look back on that and I'm like, yeah, I would have done something shocking like that too. I'm like, it's like, ooh, nobody puts dark shit in things. So yeah, dark shit just ended up in everything.
Yeah.
Get down, get down. This is what he could say to Henry Thomas in this clip. Get down.
I don't know,
You say you don't know why you did these things.
but I'm sorry. I'll never do them again.
I see you fine young people from good homes, every advantage, your whole life laid out in front of you. And I see the pot, the pills, the angel wings. Sure. It's a cruel world out there. Deceit, treachery. I wouldn't lie to you, son. See, you're in a way your own...
Get down!
friend.
Get down!
Your own worst enemy.
I'm Elliot's mother.
Of course you are. Don't you worry about a thing. Elliot and I have had our little talk, and I think we know where we're coming from. I think the best thing to do is to go home for the rest of the day and think about what's happened here today and tomorrow. Well, tomorrow, like they say, tomorrow's the first day of the rest of your life. Am I right?
May we go now?
Yes. Yes, both of you dismissed. Dismissed.
He's still doing a character there. He's still being.
He is doing a little bit of the. I'm the Association of Variety Artists.
Yeah.
Oh hey.
Oh, Harry, Jan, wait. Hey, you weren't gonna walk by, were you? I was waiting for you. We were having a party. You left the door open. We were waiting for you.
Thanks, Jake. But some other time, I'm really
Oh, no,
pushed.
man, come in just for one drink. Come on, don't be
who's
that
there?
way. Everybody, all the rejects.
No, really, I'm gonna crash. I'm very tired.
Studying every literal nuance of Harrison Ford I've not tired of it. I'm not tired of it.
Let me do some stuff here. First of all, the magazine of the week. I don't get to that often enough, but this one is from Sci-Fi Magazine. Does Sci-Fi Magazine even exist anymore? The official magazine of Sci-Fi Channel. But they existed in 2008, so they had Ford on the cover for last Crystal Skull.
Oh yeah, Sci-Fi Magazine. That's long gone. God, man, magazines were such a thing. I mean, they still are if you go to a good magazine shop. But
yeah, so they were out there. That was a cool shot to get you excited about the movie.
Here, hold it. So pull it back a little bit here.
Oh,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That looks, oh man, that's nice.
So it's a relic, and it's talking about an old movie, and it's a relic, and that this magazine probably doesn't exist anymore. But,
no,
so they're also
much like the Sci-Fi Channel, I guess, does. Yeah.
Talking about Wally.
Did Sci-Fi Channel go downhill when they started spelling it SYFY?
I think so.
But Sci-Fi used to show the old Spider-Man TV show, the old Hulk TV show. That was a great place to catch up on all my old superhero shit.
I should also promote some things we got going on at the Movie Guys. I just did an interview recently with Mark Elias. He was on our old podcast.
Yeah, I remember Mark
which
Elias.
Yeah, well, he made a film. The poster of it's behind his head there. It's called Boy Makes Girl. It's about a nerdy computer programmer who makes a girlfriend.
Like Weird Science?
Like Weird Science, yeah, just not weird. A little sober and funny here and there. Paul Dooley's in it, which is pretty cool to see him.
Oh, right on.
So we talked about, and Mark's real good at talking indie films, so that was a good conversation. You can check it out at themovieguys.net. Also, and I think I told you about this, Adam, Shorts But Sweet has come out, and it is part of.
Just listen to it.
Oh, good. Rock and Roll Radio Theater, their logo's center up at the top. They were doing like two short sequences of audio product during the strike, which when you could do that sort of thing and not get in trouble. So they were like, Paul, do you have any shorts? I said, well, I got a bunch of stuff I used to do with Karen, and then I got some stuff I've done with the movie guys that have only been done on stage. They haven't been recorded. But now you can go to themovieguys.net and listen to Shorts But Sweet and the 5 sketches, the 5th of which is the Wedding Movie Planner. One of my favorite sketches from the old live show. Yeah, it's people planning a wedding, but they're planning a movie wedding. So they include all the cliches you get in a movie wedding. And my girlfriend Susan. My girlfriend Susan's in it. My friend Richard, and then 3 people who I didn't know jump in, and they did a great job. So you can go listen. It's free comedy for you to enjoy. Just doing nothing. You can be in the car. You can be doing the dishes, whatever. And so you don't have to pay too much attention. It's comedy, so you can burn right through that. And that is at movieguys.net right now.
You gotta get you some of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I just listened to it. It was great to hear that sketch again. Great to hear it with new people. And you have 3 sketches on there, you and Susan, right? Is it 3 or 2? It opens with one.
We do one sketch, and then we do the callback of that sketch. Then there's one I'm not in at all that Karen and I wrote. Yeah, and then there's the third one. She's in Writer's Block Hotlines too. So she's in 4 of the 5.
Yes. Yeah, Writer's Block. Is that an old Karen sketch? The Writer's Block Hotline?
Yeah, we did that at the we did that at the Y2K show, so it's very old.
Oh, that does. Oh my gosh, that's Chicago, right?
Yeah, but that's also not anywhere recorded. So, you can listen to that. And they've got a home now, and they want to do more. So I'll be drumming up other old movie guys stuff to put it out there as well and see what happens. So thank you, and points to also Bart Caius, who co-wrote that. Adam and I were trying to figure out the credits for the movie Wedding Planner. It's like everybody collaborated on that. I know. Everyone who did the show, you, me, Bart, and Steve Lewis and Karen all got a credit on it. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of those ones where it's like you just start listing off all the cliches for the wedding, but in this wedding planner, he's planning a wedding movie. So of course he's telling you that would you like the cake to fall over onto the bride or the groom? There's things like that, because no, I don't think we want the cake to fall over. Like, well, you do want a wedding movie, right? Or okay, and how do you want your husband to be late to the wedding? It's like, does he have to be late to the wedding? Like, well, we are planning a wedding movie,
Your parents do hate him, right? Wait, what? Yeah.
Right. And my favorite, and I forgot about it until I listened to it again, and some of the pacing and stuff like that, like I did get a final rewrite that I was proud of the should that be happening at all? Like that repetition that comes back. That's a really funny moment in that thing. It's like where would you like your husband to have the affair before the wedding? Should that be happening at all? And on what locale would you like it? Should that be happening at all? Yeah, it's fun. That was good to hear. It's great to hear Susan in it too. That was cool.
Yeah, she's better at a lot of the stuff than I am. Yeah, so like commercials and voiceover, she's great at, and I think she's dipping her toe back into it. So hopefully she does a lot more. She is great at that.
Yeah, so a lot of personality, packed with personality. That Susan, I'll tell you what.
That's Susan Huckle. I'm a fan. What else do I have to talk about? I think that's it. Oh, I did have those. We only got 3 minutes left. Maybe I'll save them for next time. I'll give you a little tease. We love the 1-800 numbers that you call back in 1980 to find out about The Empire Strikes Back, right? We always played the one with Harrison Ford where he's like, so I'm going through the galaxy and Boba Fett comes after me. Wants me to pay Jabba the Hutt.
Written by this guy.
We got to get on the show.
Yeah, we got to get him on the show. He wrote that script and recorded all of these.
So, but there were outtakes out there, and I never knew that. Here's a little glimpse of Carrie Fisher's.
Okay, this is take one.
800 message for Leah.
The destruction of the Death Star was a major victory for the rebellion, but our battle isn't over yet. Darth Vader and the evil forces of the Emperor still keep a strong... Sorry. Please, take two. This is going to be fun. Look what you give me to say. It's always like this. Me and Tony Daniels.
There's a little hint.
Wow.
She's like saying weird sci-fi words. She's like, I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about.
Right. Well, you know what's so funny is I think this whole conversation we had was because one of the YouTube things said outtakes, but when I listened to the Harrison Ford one, there weren't any, and I think we discussed that, like, oh, Harrison Ford's like, nah, that's all you get, it's one take or whatever. But I never actually heard the outtakes, even though that file was called outtakes.
Oh yeah, probably they may have been there, but we jump right to Harrison Ford.
Yeah, you're right. There was no Harrison Ford outtakes, which is what was notable, but I never realized, like, oh, I should hear the actual, like, what the outtakes were. That's great. Oh, and Carrie Fisher just being Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, and there's one from Hamill and one from James Earl Jones too. So we'll play those next week because again, if we're going to talk to Sabrina Ramirez this week about the movie Sabrina, it'll be off this 3 p.m. thing. So all we'll have for her presence here are clips, and then we'll have to fill with this kind of nonsense. So we'll see what we can do.
Weird,
but
pretty weird.
This
is bizarre.
Or
God damn,
that's it. That's what I was looking for. All right. So that's it. Anything else, Adam?
Shit. No. Well, let's go again. It's gonna work great. Really. This method is perfect. Let's go again.
I should be playing that when we screw up a line. That's pretty good. All right. So we'll play some more of those. That's awesome.
All right. Until next week.
The balcony's closed. We should have a phrase we say at the show, right? We'll work on that.
Week, get off my plane. Right, okay.
Until next week, get off my plane.
1, 2, 3.
Jack.
Yeah.
Computer theft is a serious crime.
Bitch. So are crimes against the Constitution.
Son of a bitch.
You're going to jail, pal.
This is bizarre. God damn, this is bizarre.